This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
And good evening, one and all. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from the studios of the X-Zone Broadcast Network in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And this evening we have the pleasure of presenting to you, the members of the worldwide listening of XZBN, another show that is going to be featured here on our network each and every week. I've had the pleasure of having this gentleman on the X-Zone many times. He is fascinating. He is very interesting. And he brings something very unique to the world of the paranormal, the science of parapsychology, that goes further than that. It goes into a science. It goes into real estate. And I could go on, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about my guest right now. This is funny because it is his show, and as I always do with our first show with a new host, as I introduce him, his name is Jesse Kalsi, and he is an author. He is an astronumerologist. And Jesse, congratulations on the Jesse Kalsi radio show. Jesse, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's great to be here. Yeah.
Great having you, Jesse. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
My background is the Indian Army. Actually, I was a captain in the Indian Army for about 8 years, and then after I migrated to the United States, and I restarted my life and my career here. My interest in numerology was there all the way, but when I came to the United States, I had to learn to survive, and I used numbers to improve my existence. Is what I did, and that's how I've moved forward.
So Jesse, how did you learn about numerology, and what was it that inspired you to put certain numbers in certain certain elements to get the results that you get for your clients worldwide?
Yeah. So numerology has many schools, as we all know. There's the Vedic system that I practice. There's something by the Chinese, the Western method, the Greeks, the Hebrews, the Chaldean, the many codes. And what I use is the Vedic system, and this system has its association with planetary energy. Mm-hmm. See, like here in the West, we look at numbers and we just kind of add them up and say, okay, 5 + 1 is 6, and then that is But this goes a little deeper. We relate numbers with planets, and then based on that, we look at the overall energy. The idea is to harmonize. It's all about harmony. Your date of birth is the basic information. From there, we fine-tune the best name vibration. We fine-tune the residence. We fine-tune relationships. So that's how it goes.
What is the history of numerology? When and where was it developed?
I guess it's about 6,000. The Vedic tradition is about 6,000 years old, is what I know and understand, and it's been there for a very, very long time. Everything is interrelated, this entire business, astrology and numerology is all related. It's all interconnected, like everything else in the universe. So the Vedic tradition, I think, is about 6,000 years old.
6,000 years. And Jesse, when was the first time that you used numerology for yourself and to better yourself and to get a better idea of where your life was going?
Yeah, after I came to the United States, and I was kind of completely lost here, and I was struggling with everything. And I was like, I had to live in a Sikh temple basically to pass my time for a few months, and at that time, I was trying to get my status and things situated, and I was kind of my financial condition wasn't the best either, and then I happened to be in a place here in the Central Valley where the home number was the number that was working with me. It was a decent number. It was not the best average energy, and that helped me kind of get on my feet. And then I decided to move to the Bay Area here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and then I knew exactly what number to pick on an apartment to propel myself. And at that time, I remember I found the number 27. Actually, I was just very fortunate to find that number. That was my number, the number 27, where I lived for about 4.5 years. And, and it was absolutely amazing, how doors opened up and my life changed. But my faith in numerology was further reaffirmed after that. I walked the path and I realized how powerful the information was. And then gradually, as I graduated from where I was to a flight school, to a flight instructor, to a real estate agent, to a real estate broker, and then gradually people coming like crazy all over the place, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and this information was passed to thousands of people, and a lot of media happened. So it's just like reaffirming that I was on the right track. But then I applied this all across too. Being a real estate broker, I applied this to homes and residences. I've had the good fortune of closing about a couple of hundred escrows over the years.
My goodness. Jesse, stand by. You and I have to take a break. X-Zone Nation, you're listening to the very first edition of the Jesse Kalsi Radio Show right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. For more information about Jesse, visit him online at www.jessekalsi.com. Jesse and I return on the other side of this short break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Whether you're in the United States, England, Ireland, Spain, Russia, China, Japan, Australia, you're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Tonight is the very first edition of the Jesse Kalsi Radio Show here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Jesse is a world-renowned numerologist. He specializes in residential and business numerology and provides valuable insight on the power of numbers and how they affect our lives. In his book, X-Zone Nation and the members of the X-Zone Broadcast Network, The Power of Home Numbers, he combines his Eastern upbringing with his Western experience to bring awareness and understanding of this great phenomenon. Over the past 15 years, Jesse has consulted thousands of people and affected their lives positively. His clients include prominent business people and extremely successful communication and entertainment companies. Jesse Kalsi has appeared on many radio and television shows in the U.S. and has his unique perspective on numerology has amazed international audiences. And Jesse, before we went to the break, we were talking about real estate, and let's continue that because that is a very significant part of everyone's life.
Exactly. So, being a real estate broker myself, a licensed broker here in the state of California, over the years I've used this technique of numerology and, of course, number patching with it to help my clients and help a lot of my customers as well in the earlier days to find the right property, to stay with the right energy. So now let me give you a quick example.
Sure.
Now the basic numerology, like we all know, goes from number 1 to number 9. And then in this tradition that I practice, each number has a planet that works with it. Now say, for example, number 1 has the energy of Sun, or number 9 is more Mars, or 6 is Venus, or 5 is Mercury. So it goes like that. So now I'll give you one quick example. So typically if someone's living in a house that has a lot of Sun and Saturn energies, the Sun being number 1 and 8 is Saturn, so 1 and 8 together. So now what happens is these two numbers are not happy together. And so if this happens to be, say, a number on your apartment, or if this happens to be a number on your, your single-family dwelling, right? This would bring challenges like, cuts, injuries, accidents, family calls, things like that. But if you, on a professional level, say, for example, if you work for the police department, or if you work for the, FBI or some law enforcement agency, or if you work in a hospital, or you're a doctor, or you're a nurse, you will excel in your profession. Personally, it's definitely going to do what these two conflicting planets do. So that is just an example, an example. So, but now how do we look at the numbers of our houses, and how do we know which is the right number for us? So that has to do with our basic numerology that comes from our date of birth. So now say for someone like me, I'm born on April the 3rd, and I have a lot of Mars energy. So I typically like to keep myself in a home which has a lot of, 3, 6, Jupiter, Venus, 2, 7, that kind of energy. That's how I, like. But I wouldn't go and stay in a 1 and 8. Say, oh, that's good for you. No, I would never stay that. So that's how the energy goes. But then it is also important that when you pick these house numbers, or you decide to move to one, you will have to take the entire family into consideration, and everyone has to be considered. And that's how. Just yesterday, I was talking to this one, this one couple there. He's a high tech, a consultant in a company, and doing really well. And his house he's been there for almost 13 years. This young man, he's just 52 years old. His wife was telling me that at the age of 48, he had a stroke. Now his right eye is not, doing that well, and she has all these problems. Both her sons are kind of left the house. And it was right on the house number. So when I mentioned that to her, that the numbers were not working for her, she kind of agreed totally. Said someone else told her the same thing. But my point was that, so struggling there for 13 and a half years, suddenly she's so anxious to get out of there. She's calling me like crazy, but she has her own realtors, and of course I'll do the best to find her the right vibration. But I'm just trying to say that how much time gets wasted in our lives, living in wrong places, So,
is there any way that listeners tonight who may be hearing about numerology for the very first time, that they can get a basic idea of what they should look for and what they stay away from when looking at real estate?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rob. But the thing is, this information is a little too deep, it's a little too complicated. Now, let me give you one example. Okay. So if I tell somebody, hey, Venus is good for you, the number 6, okay, so they're great, Venus is good for me. So they go start, house shopping, just find a number 15, or they find a number 20, or numbers that add up to that energy, right? And then what happens is, say, for example, he ends up buying a house which is 501 or 510 or 5100. Now, see what happens here. So it's a 5 plus 1 is a 6, 0 amplified, great, is the energy of Venus. But no, because 5 preceding Sun is always very destructive. It's like Area 51 here in the United States in the Nevada mountains, right? The U.S. government conducts testing here.
Yes.
So that kind of energy hits the door. I had this one client one time many years ago. I remember this young man. He was such a brilliant man, and he had a house up this number 50151, and his life was so miserable. Poor guy was so sick, but he was so strong, and he was ready to hear what I started to tell him. But the point is that that energy was so strong for him that it just kind of toppled his life completely. So to get back to your question, it's always important to kind of consult somebody who knows this stuff a little bit, right? And then go from there. Or I have some information in my book, The Power of Home Numbers, and well, that's not a how-to book, to make it very clear. It's not a how-to book, but if you read that book, you'll definitely get the idea of what I'm talking about.
Jesse Kalsi is a numerologist, X Zone Nation. And if you'd like to find out more about Jesse, and then I said it again, X Zone Nation, I've been doing my own show for 26 years now. So when I bring on a new host, it's kind of an old hat, and I apologize for that, Jesse. Jesse Kalsi's website is www.jessekalsi.com. Okay, Jesse, you have something that is proprietary to you called number patching.
That's right.
What is number patching?
So number patching is a technique that I've researched over the years. It's like, when you add a number to the existing numbers, the idea being to shift the energy, but not to confuse the mailman. So say, for example, someone's living in a house number 108 or 18, like I said earlier, which is not a good number. And so if that would need a patch based on the date of birth, and say, for example, if I suggest, well, let's use more of Venus, or number 6 in the end, to shift the energy, like Saturn and Venus are compatible, so 1086, right? So we suggest you use a smaller patch next to the existing numbers with the idea to shift the energy. So this is number patching, and I've done this very successfully for many, many, many years now, yeah.
But what is the science behind it, Jesse?
The science is this, that it shifts the... See, now, like, numbers are all carrying planetary vibrations, right? They're alive, they're vibrating. They have that planetary vibration in them. So by adding another number, which is derived from your basic birth print, which is your date of birth, we can use that planet, a planet which is live, which is in form of a number, to shift that energy on the door. You know how it is? You shift the vibration on the door, is what it is.
But would that also work with someone's name?
Yes, of course. People correct names all the time. Those who know, they would add letters, or remove letters, or so that again is the same thing as basically adjusting the energy on that vibration. See, now in today's India, or even here in Hollywood now, this is very it's very popular now. In India, I know Bollywood for many, many, many years now. Most of the movies that are produced there on these huge budgets, right? They're all balanced with the name vibration using numerology. All the time.
So if someone was to contact you through your website, jessekalsi.com, and that's JESSEKALSI.com, how long would it take you to, for example, if they gave you their home address or an address that they were interested in buying, what would be the procedure that you would walk them through?
Yeah, typically about 30 minutes reading is good and more than enough, to look at everybody's date of birth and, arrive at the best vibration or suggest the best numbers to buy or to move into a residence. So it won't take more than that. But sometimes, I have many clients who, they have, more questions, and they have, businesses and business names and a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with it. So it might take an hour to do that, but 1 hour is kind of more than enough to talk about, a lot of things.
Now, you as a realtor, if I was to call you up and I gave you all the information that you needed, and I said, all right, Jesse, this is what I am looking for in Los Angeles or in Hollywood or San Bernardino, any of the areas where you actually, provide your services as a realtor. Do you do that?
Yeah, I don't go that far, but I have clients there who work with realtors, but they consult me with saying, what do you think about this house number or this? So we kind of information exchange all the time, and then based on my take, and then of course they consult other people too, and then they make the best decision. Yeah.
But this just wouldn't apply to people in California, would it, Jesse? If somebody called you from, let's say, New York, and they gave you all their personal information, and they gave you the address of a property that they're interested in buying, even though they're in New York, would you be able to help them out?
Yeah, of course. We Skype all day. There's no problem at all. We do this worldwide. I got clients all over the place.
Wow.
From here to the United Kingdom to wherever the X Zone Radio goes. And I just did one for a gentleman in South Africa the other day. He was.
Wow.
Yeah, he was buying and selling. He's a government official and interesting gentleman. And then I had another lady up the other day. She's a school teacher and she's changing her house in the outskirts of London. So it's just about from everywhere. They call me and ask me for my opinion. Yeah.
What would you say? We've got about 2 minutes before we have to go to a break here, Jesse. What would you say the number one responsibility of a responsible numerologist is?
Integrity. You have to be absolutely honest and just, give the right answers. I mean, if you don't understand something, or if you find it's beyond your perspective, you should straightforward say, I will not be able to handle this. You should be able to say no right away and not mislead anybody, and be forthright and share your experience with integrity.
All right, and let me see. Properties are vast. It's some areas grow faster than other areas. Do the lines of longitude and latitude, which are numbers, do they play any role in the basic decision when it comes to numerology?
That's a great question, Rob. This is the first time someone's asked me that question, and that's a great question. Honestly, I'm sure the numbers would do, but I'll have to think about this a little more.
All right. Jesse Kalsi is a professional, world-renowned numerologist. And as I said before, he specializes in residential and business numerology and provides valuable insight on the power of numbers and how they affect our lives. In his book, The Power of Home Numbers, he combines his Eastern upbringing with his Western experience to bring awareness and understanding of this phenomenon. www.jessekalsi.com is his website. www.jessekalsiradio.com is his XZBN website. And all Jesse's shows will be available on iTunes, Speaker, YouTube, you name it. We're going to get this show out there because Jesse Kalsi is going to make a difference in your life. This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network. I am Rob McConnell, and I am the co-host this hour with Jesse Kalsi on his premiere show right here in and on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Jesse and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news, so whatever you do, don't go away. And reminds me of that old song, Counting Flowers on the Wall, or One is the Loneliest Number in the World. Numbers, a big part of our lives. And X-Zone Nation, you have the man who can make sense of numbers better than anyone else that I have ever met. Jesse Kalsi and I return on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Jesse Kalsi radio show here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. And as you know, I'm Rob McConnell, and we are so happy to have Jesse part of the X-Zone Broadcast Network. He brings an expertise that no other network or any other show on this planet can bring. And he is a world-renowned numerologist. I've had the pleasure of knowing Jesse for a number of years now. And I can promise you, X-Zone Nation, I did it again. I can promise you, worldwide listeners of the X-Zone Broadcast Network, that Jesse is going to be touching each and every one of your lives with the information that he brings to his listeners. His website, personal website, is jessekalsi.com, and on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, it is, do you have your pencils and paper ready? You sure do. jessekalsiradio.com. Now, Jesse, you and I were talking before, and you said the number 27 was very significant in your life.
Yes.
It has also been very significant in my life. For example, I was born on the 27th of April.
Oh my God.
A lot of things in my life have the number 27 in it. For example, as you know, Jesse, I was a police officer. The first car I had, our radio number was 227.
Wow.
You know, and this has gone on throughout my life. Is this what you would call a master number, or is this? How would you explain the significance of 27 appearing throughout my life?
27 now. 2 and 7 has the energy of 2 is moon and 7 is Neptune, right? So it's moon and water, so it's very, very psychic. At the same time, 27, like you said, police, right?
Yes.
So if you if you use the Chaldean code on the letter police, it comes to 27 too.
Huh.
So it's very interesting that you said that.
My gosh.
So yeah, and then 27 also is, it's the intellect, it's the mind, so that's how it goes. But then 27th of April, so you have the energy of Venus that supports you on top, being in the sign of Taurus, right? Mm-hmm. So that is very compatible. The Venus and the Mars energy kind of is very, very important for you. And if I remember, I think the studio also has a 9 vibration, I think, right? The address of your station also has
586.
Okay, 586. Okay.
Oh, you were thinking of the studio number itself is 54.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
54,
that's right. Yeah. That's right. The studio that we are in tonight is our studio 54.
Exactly. Yes. Just 54. So so that Mars vibrates with you really, really well, and then, like you just said, your background is law enforcement. Yes. It perfectly connects with that. But then it also connects with the media, because Venus that rules you it connects with media, with radio, television, and print media, and everything else that you do really, really well.
Thank you, Jess.
So that's how it goes. Yes.
How can numerology help our listeners? On a personal aspect, we talked about the real estate. We talked a little bit about business, and we'll get into that later on. But on a personal basis, on a one-to-one basis, how can you, as a numerologist, help the listeners?
Okay, so now, as you all know, in this world today, relationships is one very big issue, right? Everyone has one problem, which is a relationship problem, right? Be it within the family or be it a love relationship, it's all about that relationship business. So we're talking a little bit about, the business of relationships. It's like more like lovers getting together, people dating each other, right? So now what happens is, it is very important to understand that certain basic numbers, So say, for example, like I said earlier, giving my example, I have a lot of 3 Jupiter energy on my date of birth. April the 3rd was when I was born. Mm-hmm. So now my energy works best when it is kind of springtime or fall, like now as we get into September and towards the end of the year. Typically, so energy goes like that. So now, just like you too, your energy would also work very well in the fall season now, in May, March, these times, right? So some basic information has to be understood first. Then the second thing is, it is very important to understand compatibility. The compatibility. Now, 3, 6s, and 9s, right? So Jupiter, Venus, and Mars, are always happy together. Like 1, 2, 4s, and 7s, like this, like Sun, Moon, Uranus, and Neptune. These numbers also kind of go well together. Now, say for example, if someone has a 19th date of birth, just for example, the 19th of say January, and they end up dating someone who's born on the 27th of October. This is a very strong chance that these 2 numbers, being Sun and Mars, both very hot, would definitely butt heads. There'd be a lot of disagreements, and then there'd be a lot of challenges. And then again, what happens is the home where they live, or wherever they live before they meet each other, right? So and then on top of that, we talked about gemstones and crystals earlier.
Yes.
So now, so what happens is, wearing the wrong kind of gemstones, or wrong energies, also makes things very difficult, and sometimes people don't even understand how that is really affecting them. So this is some basic information that has to be understood. But then there is something called as fine-tuning the names. I mean, there are many people in this world I've researched over the years who don't have the best date of birth to be together. But then what has happened is their names, the names kind of connected well. So despite all the challenges and the discords that they experienced in their lives, they still kind of clung together because of the name vibrations, which were kind of holding better planetarily. So that's how it goes. So it's kind of very complicated. It's very interesting. Now going back to gems, gems.
Mm-hmm.
See, now we also know the chakra system, and we all know the chakras, and the 7 chakras in the body. We all know that.
Yep.
Now, yeah. So now, you know, the chakra, which is the 6th chakra, the eyebrow chakra, right, with the color is indigo blue, right? Is now this energy is very important, and the crystal that rules this point is a blue sapphire. Now, a blue sapphire does not suit everybody, right? It does not suit everybody. So it's it's earth stone, very tricky. But if it works, it'll definitely open some part of the third eye, and you'll be able to kind of see better. You'll make less mistakes in your life. You'll be able to navigate your path better. But then again, if you meet up with somebody who's wearing a ruby in their hand, right? A ruby is the energy of number 1, right? And that is again a very intense planet and a gemstone. Now, if someone's wearing a blue sapphire and someone's wearing a ruby in their hands, right? Even if they have compatible numbers, they'll clash again, because these two planetary energies, right? They just, why? Because 1 is 1 and 1 is 8, right? They'll bump off. So there are many, there are many fine things that affect relationships, but they are ways to give suggestions, correct
Right.
the energies using their numbers.
When it comes to personal relationships, let's see if Mary wants to know if she is compatible with John. They've been dating for a while and things are starting to get serious. And, Mary wants to know if there's a future with John. How can you as a numerologist help?
Absolutely. So what I would do is I'd basically look at the date of birth quickly, and then I look at the name vibrations and how the name's going. And then there's one more very important thing is the cycle that they are running, right? Now, each person after their birthday, they enter another cycle, right?
Yes.
It's like for today, so President Trump, the 45th president of the United States, has now entered his Mars cycle, and that's why there's so much happening around. We talk about him a little later. So that's how cycles are. So everybody on their birthdays are entering another cycle for 1 year, another planetary energy. So those energies have to be considered too. So now, if besides all the compatibility, if say both the partners are entering, say one's entering Saturn here, which is number 8 here, and the other person is also entering a number 8 here, right? What will happen is they say, oh, no, 2 8s together? No. 2 8s together are never good together. So what will happen is there'll definitely be, separation. 8s, basically, Saturn will bring separation. It'll bring depression. It'll raise your blood pressure.
Wow.
All kinds of things that will start happening, and they'll wonder what the hell is happening. Why are we kind of moving away, And so then it is important to understand that the time, the period, and the months that come in between, where the energy would, kind of minimize a little bit. So there are many, many fine things that have to be considered, and put these relationships together.
Jesse, people knew that we were going to be doing your show tonight, and somebody by the name of Jean, who is in Boulder, Colorado, asked us if we could ask you this question. Given the numerology of next year, what can we expect, and how does this line up with other predictions?
So now the coming year is 2018. And now see overall vibration of 2018. It's got moon, it's got a zero and amplifier, it's got sun, and it's got the energy of Saturn. Now this energy, is it's not an easy energy to handle, and overall I can tell you that right now. Because it's got moon, sun, and Saturn. Now all these 3 planets are not kind of happy together. There's challenges. So now, say for example, if in the coming year, if you have to write an address, if you say 5th of January 18, so don't write 5th of January 18, write 5th of January 2018. So use that entire energy, and then to kind of balance it off a little bit, the overall color, the vibration, the spectrum that comes up is more light colors. The energy of the color white, the off-white, the yellow. Those are those colors on the spectrum that will kind of balance the energy. But it'll be a tough year, I can tell you.
The numerological predictions that you give based on numbers, Are they more accurate than the psychic predictions that a psychic would make?
I
Based on your
never make
experience.
predictions.
Okay.
My information is solution based. It's like it's always solution based.
Okay.
It's about harmony. It's about correction. Is what I do, and I never really make predictions. I don't really do that.
All right. You're a scientist. You're not a psychic.
Yeah, I'm more kind. No, it's not that. I'll tell you another thing about me. I've seen that whenever I've dabbled with numbers,
Yes.
for some strange reason, I start picking up information, and it just kind of my right brain kind of gets activated, and a lot of stuff starts coming out from there as well.
Wow.
But then I would still say that I would not call myself a psychic, really. No.
What about the address of the White House in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
What does that tell you about the White House, if anything?
Yeah, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah.
The energy of this residence has it's got Sun and it's got Venus and it's got 2 zeros amplified. So this is a place of it's a place of deception. It's a place of trickery. It's a place where you would never get the right information, really. So that's how that energy is set. In fact, I had created a video a couple of years ago where I had suggested that if they could turn the 6 around and make it a 9, make it 1900 Pennsylvania Avenue, right? It'll be much better for the head of a state. So I'm sure some thought it was funny, but some liked it too. So I guess it has both sides to it. But yes, but that place I think would be better if it was like it was a food business or something with.
Jesse, you and I have to take our final break for this hour. Exo Nation, you're listening to the Jesse Kalsi radio show on the Exo Broadcast Network. I am Rob McConnell, and I'm co-hosting this very special edition, the very first edition of the Jesse Kalsi show right here on the Exo Broadcast Network. Jesse's website is www.jessekalsi.com. That's www.jessekalsi.com. And Jesse and I will be back on the other side of this break as we wrap up this hour in the Jesse Kalsi radio show on the Exo Broadcast Network. Don't go away.
This is the Exxon Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Welcome back to the Jesse Kalsi radio show here on the Exxon Broadcast Network. Jesse Kalsi is a world-renowned numerologist. He specializes in residential and business numerology and provides valuable insight on the power of numbers and how they affect our lives. His book is entitled The Power of Home Numbers. He combines his Eastern upbringing with his Western experience to bring awareness and understanding of this phenomenon. Jesse graduated from the National Defense Academy of India and pursued advanced studies in Indian Military Academy. He served as a captain in the 1st Battalion, 3rd Gurkha Rifles, formerly called the Queen's Own. Intending to devote his life to the military affairs, Jesse left the Army when he was informed of his true purpose while posted at the frontier. Once again, www.jessekalsi.com, and Jesse is going to be heard 7 days of the week right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at different times to make sure that everyone around this great big world of ours knows about the power of house numbers and the power of numerology with Jesse Kalsi. All right, Jesse, before we went to the break, I kind of snuck in an address, and that was 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, the White House. And I was laughing, snickering, when you were describing what the numbers meant to that house. And man, you were dead on. But I have to ask you this question, Jesse, and I hope I'm not pushing the boundaries. But what about President Trump? What do the numbers tell us about Donald?
Yeah, interestingly, so our president, President Trump, is now the 45th president, and his date of birth, he's born on June the 14th, right? So he's a Gemini. He has a lot of Mercury energy, and his name Donald Trump, has a lot of Jupiter and Venus energy. So Venus is about luxury and entertainment, and all these resorts and hotels that he's been in there for a long time. But the total combination of Jupiter, of course, gives him this global reach. Now, Mercury is, we all know Mercury is communication, and Mercury, gives you all the quick answers, and you're very quick at your feet. So he has that gift of the gab. But now the timing now, the President Trump has now entered a Mars year. Mars is the number 9. So now number 9 and number 5, right? So number 5 that rules him with the date of birth, the 14th, right? 5 is a neutral number. 5 gets along with all the numbers, but the number 9 is one number that 5 doesn't like because it's very mercurial. 9 is fire, and 5 is fluctuating, right? So that's how that energy is set. And now because he's in his Mars year, and then he's the 45th president with Mars coming 2 times, right? So now as this time progresses from now onwards till the next birth cycle, which is the middle of next year, and then it being 2018, like we were talking about earlier. So this is it's a challenging time. It's a challenging time because the numerological vibrations, the number vibrations, are not working for him. You see? So so that is how the energy is moving forward. So it'll be it's a challenging time, and that's his energy pattern, and he has to work with it or work around it. But it's going to be challenging, I can tell you right now.
Jesse, it seems that you add other aspects within your numerology, and one that I've noticed is astrology.
Yes.
So would you consider yourself an astronumerologist?
Yeah, that's what I call myself, an astronumerologist, because I use numbers and planets together. When
the numbers and the planets, the number of planets, what are there, 9 planets of the solar system or 7 planets of the solar system?
There are many more now, but basically, you go with the basic from 1 to 9 based on the numbers, we go from 1 to 9.
But what happens in the astrological part of what you do, Jesse, when Pluto was demoted from being a planet? Does that affect charts, or is that just something that is ignored when it comes to astrology, because for so many years Pluto was considered a planet?
That's absolutely true. See, Pluto is, it's... The energy of Pluto was not taken into consideration that much in basic numerology, really. So, and neither do we consider it that much now. So yeah, that's how it is.
What was your most inspiring moment as a numerologist, Jesse? What is the one case that you worked on that, when you look back, puts a smile on your face and you say, you know what, that was good?
Actually, there have been quite a few, and I work with many of these young people, who've been through med schools and who would struggle to pass their USMLEs, pass the USMLE 1, 2, and all that struggle that they went through med school, and finding the right numbers in the dorms, and suggesting the right gemstones for many of them who now become professional doctors. And there are many people that I work with all the time, these young professionals who are suddenly lost. They can't find work, and they suddenly find a job in a city, or get hired here or hired there. But then there's one that I remember. Many years ago, I was invited to a television station right here in San Francisco, and it was Cron 4 Television. It was a big station. It still is, actually. It's quite well known.
Yes.
At Cron 4. And then I remember this one client. She had done some consulting with me. She was from Ireland, and I never met her. So she called me one day and said, "Well, you have to come and meet my friend, and he's the programming director of Cron 4 TV in San Francisco." So I did go to meet him, and then so he asked me this question. He said, "What do you think about the number of this building, Cron 4 Television?" And the address was 1001 South Van Ness Avenue in San Francisco. So I suggested, I said, this number is not good for a TV station. And that TV station wasn't doing well anyway. They're not making much money at that time. He said, "So what do we do?" I said, "So let me see." I said, you can use a patch." He said, "What is a patch?" I said, "You add two numbers, add a 5, 5, and a 2. So he said, "Oh, no worry, we'll put a patch there." So he, the huge entry, the huge tall entry, and he had this, the gentleman come and put those numbers there. So inside story, I knew the lady in the front desk there. So she told me that things started shifting, and they got some more deals, contracts, or whatever happened inside, right? But then a couple of weeks later, there's this one reporter from the sfweekly.com. You know how print media and TV always have their competition.
Yep.
But this guy stops by and says, "What are those numbers on that door there, Cron 4 Television?" So he comes on to the front desk. He says, "Oh, well, Pat and the programming director, he's asked us to put those numbers there." So he actually found a story. So he goes right up to Pat, and he says, "Why did you put those numbers on the door?" This is Cron 4. So he says, "Oh, Jesse Kalsi told us to put those numbers." So anyways, so then the next morning I got up, and I had huge traffic on my website. I said, 16,000 hits in the morning. I said, "It's never happened to me before." What happened? So the thing was that they ran a story. SF Weekly ran a story in the newspaper. Yeah, and then because of that, suddenly there was huge traffic on my website. But then that then there was a lot of. So then they removed the patch, and then they put it back again, and then they removed it again, and then it became. So if you Google my name ever and you say Jesse Kalsi and Cron 4, you'll definitely find that story right there somewhere.
Excellent.
But it did shift their energy, that's for sure. So that definitely happened, yeah.
Jesse, as I've been telling listeners that this is your first show on the network, what do they have to look forward to in the future? What are you going to be discussing?
There are many thoughts and numbers. I have a lot of information that I like to put forward. And I'm also open to taking a lot of questions too. I would appreciate if people can email you questions.
Yep.
So so that'd be good if you can take several questions and kind of pass the information out so you can help the listeners at the same time, other than just listening to what I have to say. I can keep talking for hours,
And to all our listeners on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and the other networks that this show is on, including, let me see, the Angel Broadcast Network, Sirius Digital Broadcast Network, the Digital Satellite Network, Digital Broadcast Network, and the other many networks that you're going to be hearing the Jesse Kalsi show on. If you'd like to send Jesse a question, all you need to do is go to xzbn.net, click on shows, scroll down to Jesse's picture, his bio, and there is his network email address. Just click on that, send Jesse the question, and I'm sure that he'll be able to put it into the queue for one of the many shows that he is going to be with us here, sharing the world of numerology with each and every one of you. Jesse, we have about a minute left. What would you like to tell your audience?
I like to tell my audience is that numerology is a true science. It is very effective, and numbers never lie. They would always they speak the truth. They're the language of the universe, and do consider them in very important decisions of life. If you feel stuck somewhere and if you can't find answers, I would definitely say that do some research on numbers and maybe your answers would be hidden in that, in that information.
Jesse, the time has come when you and I must say so long for now, my friend. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to co-host your very first show with you here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. It's always a pleasure talking to you. You're one of my favorite people, and I cannot wait to hear from our listeners around the world how you, Jesse Kalsi, are going to be making positive changes in their life at home, in their business life, because, man, you are the number one astronumerologist in my books. Jesse Kalsi, take care, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
And if you'd like to visit Jesse's site, www.jessekalsi.com, and to find out more about Jesse, visit the X Zone Broadcast Network website, xzbn.net. Go to the shows and find out all about Jesse, and to find out when his show is going to be airing on XZBN and our other networks, just go to www.xzbn.net. For Jesse Kalsi and the X Zone Broadcast Network, I'm Rob McConnell, wishing each and every one of you a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and numbers matter in your life.